Hustle fam, we are back. Yo, listen, I got my brother Kobe Pegway with me today. First of all, my brother, listen, thank you for providing the vibe, man. This is crazy. Like, this is what ATL is supposed to look like, my brother.
Oh yeah, man. We couldn't do it no other way.
Oh man, listen, that's a fact. I think I gotta record here every single time, man. After this is crazy. So I appreciate this, man. We got the whole rooftop vibe. We live in ATL. My brother, listen, man. I wanted to connect with you. The first time I heard of you, I saw a post that you actually put out there. You said you did 3.5 million
The infamous
in 1 year in Amazon, right? 3.5 million. I said, man, I got to connect with this brother. So we're going to get to that. I know people hear that and they're tuning. They're like, okay, we want to hear about this. But we want to get more into your backstory in true truck and hustle fashion. So first of all, welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you for having me.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, so listen, let's learn a little bit about you, man. Where you from? You know, talk about your backstory. Let's learn about Kobe Pegway, man.
All right, well, I'm from St. Louis, you know.
Okay, the Lou.
The Lou, you know, greatest show on turf, even though the team gone, you know, we known for that.
No doubt.
But yeah, so I grew up, you know, rough parts of that area. Fast forward, moved out. I linked up with my pops, moved out to like a small little bad suburb area.
Okay.
But I always been kind of the entrepreneurial spirit. You know, I've been trying to work and make my own money for pretty much my whole life.
When'd you move out?
I moved out of my pop's crib at 19.
Okay, 19.
Worst move ever. Worst move ever.
Well, we're not ready? Not ready yet?
Nah, I mean, I don't think anybody should move out until you got your bag together.
Okay,
like,
okay.
I mean, I think we be, you know, our culture want us to move out like so quick, but that's why a lot of us end up coming back.
Right,
Come back 3
got
years
you.
later because you ain't got it figured out. Stay in, help the parents that helped you, raise you, and then, you know, so if I could have did it again, I'd do that. I would have.
So Pops didn't kick you out. You left.
Nah, I mean, I got sick of the rules.
Right, got it.
And the rules wasn't even bad. Rules wasn't even bad, but Pops let girls come through everything. But I just wanted to stay out and just be sloppy. Pretty much. I just wanted to be sloppy. He wasn't having that.
Dig it. So he was doing the right thing as a parent by you. He just wanted to have you some rules and some type of structure. But you wasn't hearing that. You was 19. Man. You was ready to roll out.
I didn't get it, man. You know how many times I text my pops now and be like, "Thank you, man. I apologize." For all of the stupid stuff that you were trying to tell me to avoid, and I end up everybody said was bad.
Right.
Homies was bad.
Got you. So 19. So you said St. Louis. So you're in the suburbs at this point, right?
Yeah, I'm in the suburbs.
Okay. What suburb is that in St. Louis? Outside of St. Louis.
I was living in Delwood. You know, I stayed in like Spanish Lake area too, though. But I'm from the north side of St. Louis, though.
Okay.
So I always end up. So after I moved out, I was in the suburbs for a minute. Then I'm like, I got to go back to the hood because I was in the hood for so long before I went to the suburbs that I never could really get any really friends for real. Like I couldn't really connect with them because they had more than what I had.
Got you.
So I moved at 21. I moved right back down to the slums where I came from.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And paint the picture. What's it like out there? At 21, you're in St. Louis in the slums. Give me a picture. What's it like out there?
At 21, I was still in the streets. You know what I'm saying? So I was out there hustling the streets. And out there it was, I mean, if you know about St. Louis, one of the most dangerous cities, and I was living in the thick of it. You know? So, you know, you talking, it ain't like, since the population is small, you know, 180 to 200 murders out there is big when the population is only 300,000.
Right, that's a fact.
So that's a whole lot of, so it's a whole lot of stuff. But I didn't realize how stupid I was at the time, or how dangerous the life that I was living was, because at the time I didn't know really anything. But of course I knew the suburbs for a second. But if somebody's shooting like if somebody's shooting 2 streets over, we not running because they're not shooting at us.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So
we
hear gunshots so frequently that it's like, okay, as long as they ain't flying this way, you know, I ain't tripping.
Got you.
You know?
Got you. All right, cool. So 21, tell me about it. So you get started on your journey, you start your maturation, becoming a man. Tell me about what you start getting into.
So of course I was into music at the time. I started rapping when I was like 19. So I was, you know, of course I was rapping. Mixing rapping with being in the streets.
Okay.
Of course I like the streets more because rapping, I was spending a lot of time, but I wasn't making no money.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I guess the end of my street game came when I think about 22, they kicked my house in. And that was pretty much the end of it for me. One of my partners was a producer. He had already been trying to. He was the one that got me into rapping.
Okay.
And he was like, look, man, just get off the streets. I got a way you can make a percentage over here with me selling beats.
Okay, gotcha.
So I end up. So that's the first money I really ever made in
selling beats.
In music is selling beats. So
gotcha.
My partner hit me off for like 18%.
Okay. So at this time was the Nelly and the St. Lunatics, were they hot yet or?
Yeah. At this time, let's say I was about 21. So yeah.
Around that time, this is when they kind of popping.
06, 07.
So this was a good time for you to be in music and all that, like from your perspective.
This was Sweatsuit. This was
got you.
Was on the map, and then the Rams was winning.
Right. So everything's going good.
So everything's going good. So you had Nelly, you had Chingy, you had Jaquan, you had Jibs, it was like
they had a movement for a minute, bro.
It was when the movement was strong, so everybody was trying to get in. It's kind of like what trucking is now.
Okay, got you.
St. Louis
got you. All right, so fast forward. So you doing the music, you get your first check, entrepreneurial check, your 18%. What happens after that?
So I helped my partner make a lot of money, but at the same time, I'm not a worker. So I was feeling like I was a worker, in a sense. I'm like, come on, man, if I'm doing all of this, if I help your profits go from if we do 25,000 in the first 3 months and then we turn around and do 50, I'm looking like, hey, if there's something different within the sauce, if you know what I'm saying, I'm like, we tracking to double what you're doing.
Right.
That can't be you, that's gotta be me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Fact.
So I confabulated with him and we was trying to talk about it and we couldn't come to an agreement. So I just walked and I ended up starting managing producers. Okay. So I started my own production company and I started to just get all producers. I would get the beats from them, we would cut a percentage. And I started doing that. Long story short, a lot of stuff happened within that. I lost my cousin within the music. I got off of the music and I went to go work at the post office for a while.
Okay.
So I just went back to work. So I was working. And then
how old are you at this time?
So hold on. So I went to let me go back. At 23, while I was doing the music, I had started a car lot.
Okay.
So at 23, I had my first business that was like my business. I had went out and got the cars and everything. The only problem is that was my first big failure because I didn't know how much money I would need to actually do it.
Okay.
So I came in, it took me 6 months to get my building up to code for the city to actually approve me. By that time, I was paying $1,600 a month. So my fund, keep in mind, I'm working trying to work a little part-time job, doing a little bit of music because of course my partner had a way bigger platform. So that's when I learned that my 18% there was more than my 80%
Got you.
In the new company because 80% of a whole lot lesser gross was a whole lot less. So I wasn't able to do it full time. Yeah. So that's when I learned that, well, maybe I probably should have stayed and try to figure something out to work it out because at least at that point I would have still been in music. Now I'm trying to juggle between the car lot, music, little part-time job, and I'm just like, okay.
Right.
So fast forward, if you want me to fast forward to when I started a construction company, failed. Started another construction company, failed. So I just
so this is all because you said you were working at the post office too. So you're doing all these side hustles while you're working at the post office.
Yep.
So
I was doing it. So say I started trucking 4 years ago. 4 years ago was 2017. 4 years before that, I started at the post office like 2013.
Okay.
So in between that time of Nelly and me being rapping and them having a movement for St. Louis, I was in the movement. I was working job to job trying to sacrifice. We was coming to Atlanta every weekend. We was doing shows. We was out here connecting. We was sitting at tables with TBT. We sat at the table with Atlantic. We had the record deals was kept kind of like we was kind of getting there.
You had one foot in.
But I felt like what happened was we relied on our talent too much and we stopped grinding as hard because we okay, we got the attention. We grinded, got the attention, but then we kind of like, okay.
Got complacent.
You know what I'm saying? We kind of was like, okay, cool, it's time to go party.
Right.
Time to go to the club because Atlantic looking at us, but really they was watching us to see what our grind was.
See how y'all would handle it. Right. You didn't keep your foot on the gas.
I didn't keep my foot on the gas. So
okay.
It was a lesson that would help me in trucking and a lesson that would help me in entrepreneurship later.
Got you. All right, so you're working at the post office, you're doing all these side hustles. You have a lot of things going on, obviously, like all kind of crazy things. So what happens after that? Like from the post office, talk more about that. So do you stop those jobs? You like start focusing on your main job? Like what do you do? Or do you leave the post office? What happens?
Okay, so I locked down a job at the post office for off and on for 4 years.
Okay.
I never.
And what are you doing for them? What are you doing for the post office?
I was a mail handler, so I'm moving the freight around and like say the weird thing about it is that the post office ties into the whole Amazon thing because I got onto Amazon from the post office because I got linked in from the guy that was delivering Amazon to my post office.
Gotcha.
So for the last 4 years, I've been delivering Amazon to the post office.
Gotcha.
Exactly. So I'm just on the other side now.
Got you. So, but through networking with somebody from that job, you were able to.
It literally was the driver that was coming in and delivering. He actually put me in contact with a guy that had Amazon routes, and then I called that guy. He ended up putting me in contact with Budget for a good deal on the rental truck, and then I was in the game from there.
What made you? How did you make that connection to get from being a package handler to making that next step? What was going on in your mind as you were seeing that brother? Like y'all were talking, y'all became friendly. Like how'd that conversation even happen for him to bring you into that network?
Gotcha. So mind you, I had already had the entrepreneurial spirit because I had already had 3 or 4 failed businesses already. I had stopped quitting music because I started having a lot of kids and it just didn't make sense.
Right.
So as he was coming in, he would be bringing them in, and some told me to be like, hey, do you need a CDL to drive that truck? So I just asked that question. I was like, man, I don't want to be all up in this man's business. But I'm like, man, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Right.
You know, so once he told me that I didn't need a CDL, I didn't believe him. I'm like, it's impossible. I'm like, I heard that because I'm hearing the air brakes, and I'm like, this sounds like a semi, but it sounds like a smaller version. But I didn't know.
Right.
So he went. So within the next 2 days, I can't. You know, the memory kind of throws off the real time.
Right.
But within the next couple of days, he had came back and he pulled out his license to show me. He's like, look, man, here go my license. You don't need a CDL or nothing to drive this truck. So I started to think about it. I'm like, okay, I don't need this. I went home, talked to my wife. I'm like, hey, look, we got some money saved up. I've been working 6 days at the post office, you know.
Right.
So I got some money saved up. My credit, I probably had 40,000 in credit at the time. Like my credit was A1.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm ready to do this. So he showed me a check that he had made $2,500 in 10 days, and it pretty much. Once he showed me that, I wasn't trying to hear what my wife was trying to hear. I wasn't trying to hear what nobody was saying. I'm like, I'm like 2,500 in 10 days. I'm like on my own, and I wasn't even thinking about. It wasn't even the fact I didn't think about whether the money made sense. I just felt that I could be my own boss. I can make my own rules, and that was kind of like that ego thing. Why I moved out my pop's house. I want to make my own rules. Why I want to quit my job. I want to make my own rules.
Right.
So I never liked the authority ever. I never liked nobody being able to tell me what to do. So I always had a problem with that.
Gotcha.
So at my first jump, without even doing any research on trucking, there was no YouTube channel I could go to. There was no classes I could take 4 years ago. So I really completely jumped in. The guys that were guiding me didn't know any more than I knew. They still only got one truck now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I end up taking the game and elevating, but they didn't end up getting any further than they are right now.